Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today's video is going to be a review of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. Before I get into the video though, I'm going to apologize for the noise outside my door. I'm pretty sure my phone is actually going to pick this up. My brother is currently doing laundry and I could wait until it's done, but I have something planned in less than 2 hours and I want to be ready for that, and it usually takes me a little while to record videos, and I didn't want to wait and try to smush this review in before what I have planned, so I'm just going to record it now. I am sorry about the dryer, but hopefully it won't be too distracting. So Percy Jackson is a series that I love very, very much. I have my own clay beads necklace that I've been working on the past several years, and I have my Camp Half-Blood shirt, and I am so excited to be rereading this series. It's been 3 years, almost a little over 3 years, because I started it in my last year of high school when I was 17, so yeah, it's been a while, and I am so excited to get back into it. But anyway, this is just the review of the first book. I'll be doing a review for each book, and then I'll do a series review at the end, like I did for the Chronicles of Fairy over here. So I'm going to try to keep this video brief, but I love these books so much that it might be a little bit difficult. But anyway, in the spirit of trying to keep this brief, let's move into what I thought about the plot. I give the plot 5 out of 5 stars. It's middle grade, so it is, it's middle grade. It's young middle grade. The characters are 12 in this book, so it is on the young side, definitely, but I still give it 5 out of 5 stars. It is so enjoyable. I'm 20 years old reading this, and I got right into it as soon as I got a couple chapters in. I just got right back into the story and with the characters and everything. So I give the plot 5 out of 5 stars. Some of it is probably pretty far-fetched, and I'm not even talking about the fact that there are Greek gods that are real in modern day. Like, of course, that's pretty far-fetched, but that's the whole point of the series. What I mean is that 3 12-year-olds, basically, I know Grover technically isn't 12, but 3 kids travel across the US by themselves and nobody really asks too many questions. Like, that's probably more unbelievable. Probably the most unbelievable thing, honestly. But for some of that time, they are hiding from the police, so it's not like the whole trip is completely easy, even on the mortal side of things. So overall, I think it was great. I don't think that was too far-fetched. Again, a little bit, but not bad. And I read the series a few years ago, so I do remember some things, but I've also forgotten a lot as well. Going into this, I thought it was basically going to be like reading it for the first time, except that I know what the big twist is, which that's kind of disappointing. It would be really nice to read it again, not having any idea who is behind everything and who's on what side. That would be so much fun. But that's pretty much all I remembered. I had forgotten so much of what happened in this book. And pretty often as I came to things, I remembered, I was like, oh yeah, I remember Auntie M, I remember the poodle, I remember all these things. But then there are a lot of things that I had also completely forgotten about, even as I was reading what was happening. Like at Krusty's, I totally forgot about that. And all throughout that chapter, I kept waiting to see what happened because I could not remember who Krusty was and what the big disaster was going to be that happened. So it was really fun to be reading this and not remembering a lot of it because there's just always something new in every chapter. It's always exciting. And I love how Rick Riordan works the Greek myths into it. It's always super fun to see what he's going to do with them, what myth he's going to bring in next. And I love Greek mythology anyway. I have since 2nd grade. So this is just the perfect series for me. I am so in love with it. Yeah, so 5 out of 5 for the plot. It is fast-paced. It's super exciting, honestly, for any age. And Rick Riordan manages to throw tons of twists in that you have no idea, that you don't see coming, that you have no idea are coming. So 5 out of 5. Moving on to the characters. I love all of these characters. I completely fell in love with them when I read the series the first time, and I still love them. Percy is the perfect character for me. Usually, I feel like this type of character is usually a side character, you know, the snarky comic relief, kind of stupid but also like incredibly intelligent character. And Percy, the main character, is that character. And I love it because that's always my favorite character. So this is the one of the few series that has several characters, and yet the main character is my favorite character. Usually it's one of the side characters. Even if they're a pretty prominent side character, I still would think of them as a side character. And they're usually my favorite. But in this case, Percy is my favorite because he is that sassy, snarky, really dumb, yet also really smart character. Of course, Grover also kind of embodies that kind of comic relief side character, so I love Grover as well. He is just a darling in this book, and he deserves to be protected at all costs. Absolutely love him. Annabeth, I do like Annabeth. I don't think I necessarily like fell in love with her in the first book. I think it was later down the line when I was like, all right, she's pretty awesome. She is awesome in the first book, but I feel like she grows a lot more throughout the series. But I do love seeing her and Percy in this first book. I love seeing their interactions and how I just love it. I'm trying not to give away too many things, but I do really love the relationship in this first book and in the first few books of the series. It's really fun. Chiron is a wonderful mentor, a wonderful character. I really do love him too. Even though you don't see him too often, he is always helpful and kind, but can't give away too much. But you know that he has Percy's best interests in heart, and he has all of the Half-Blood's best interests at heart, and he just shows that, and I really do love him as well. The Greek gods are always fun to see. It's always fun to see how Rick Riordan is going to portray them, and I love the personalities that he gives them. They always seem very suiting, and so that's always an adventure. Getting to meet a new Greek god in the series is just always fun. That's one of my favorite parts. The only character that seemed kind of overdone to me was Gabe, but I feel like that kind of has to be expected in a middle grade series. The characters are kind of overdone and their personalities are a little bit overdone because it is targeted more towards young kids. And that's kind of how young kids think of things. Everything is just over the top. So I do feel like Gabe was pretty overdone, but otherwise I feel like most of the characters were pretty balanced. And we can't forget about Sally. She is just absolutely incredible. One of the best characters in the series, I swear. Someday, far in the future, maybe I will do kind of a mini-series spotlighting all of the characters and just going in depth about them, because I would love to do that. I would love to read the books and really focus on specific characters and just analyze everything about them and everything about the series, but that's not going to be this read. This is a fun, fast read just to get reacquainted with it. But Sally, she is incredible. She is so strong and so brave and so wonderful. Just everything about her is just amazing. I love Sally. So the characters, of course, get 5 out of 5 for me. And let's move on to the writing. This is already a longer video than I wanted it to be, so let's just get into the writing. I give the writing 4 out of 5 stars. Could have been better, honestly. It's not spectacular writing, I wouldn't say, but the story is interesting enough and it's fast-paced enough that the writing doesn't really matter too much, honestly. There is so much else going on, and the story is so incredible that you don't really care too much about the writing, and it's not awful either. It's not difficult to get through. I think it could have been better. Something that I do really appreciate about Rick Riordan's writing is that he doesn't dwell too much on descriptions. I really don't like descriptions. I don't see things super well in my head, so when a book just takes paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs to describe something, I get really bored. It draws me out of the story because I just can't really picture what they're talking about, and I would rather get back to the characters and the action and the heart of the story. And so the way Riordan does descriptions is great. He takes a few sentences to set the scene, to describe the different palaces or something, wherever Percy is. He does set the scene, but it's quick, and then he moves right back into whatever's going on. Same with the characters. He might take a few sentences to describe a character's looks, and then he moves on. And so that is perfect for me. I do really like to know what the characters look like, so I like that he takes the time for that. But he doesn't dwell too long on things, especially the descriptions of different places that the characters are. He just quickly lays out the scene and then moves on, and that is perfect for me. So that gets really high marks for me, but overall I give the writing 4 out of 5 stars. And let's move to the title tie-in. I love the title tie-in for this. I feel like it is misleading and yet also very perfect. So title tie-in is great. Yeah, that's all I have to say. It's very suiting for this type of series and a little bit misleading, so just very good. Not much for the content guide. It's a middle grade series, so there's no swearing, no like overly romantic things, no gore or anything. It's pretty clean. Basically, if you don't like the idea of the Greek gods being personified and being part of a series, don't read the series, because that's pretty much all it is Greek myths and Greek gods and stuff like that in modern day. But if you're fine with that and you're fine with some magic and some evil forces, I mean, there's always good and evil, so if you're fine with that sort of thing, then go ahead and read it. Probably the most problematic thing, other than the Greek gods, would be things that you see in the underworld. So, you know, there are monsters, there are people being tortured, which is very quickly glossed over, and Percy doesn't say anything about the really bad tortures. He says, and there are worse tortures, but I don't even want to talk about them. Like, that's basically what he says. So everything is pretty clean. It's meant for 12-year-olds. It's meant for young teens. So it's very, very clean. A lot cleaner than a lot of other young adult things that I've seen that are supposed to be clean and then end up being pretty old for their genre. So I don't think there's really anything in this that would bother anybody unless it's the Greek gods. And now for my takeaway thoughts. I'm going to try to be quick here. You all know that I love the series. I've said that enough. So I think it's really great. I so enjoyed reading this first book, and I was honestly sad when it ended. Even though I know I have 4 more books in the series and then a whole nother series to read, I still was sad when it ended because I didn't want to say goodbye to this story yet, even though it does continue with the characters. It's still kind of sad when it ends because it is so good. Yeah, I guess those are my takeaway thoughts. It's an incredible series and I'm so happy to be rereading it, and a few years in the future I'm sure I will reread it again because it's very good. I don't think I will ever tire of it. It was an incredible read. I highly recommend it to anybody who enjoys Harry Potter. I feel like it's fairly similar to Harry Potter. The first few chapters especially, I noticed so many parallels between this book and the first Harry Potter book, which I read just before this book. I saw so many things that were very similar. So I think if you liked Harry Potter, you'd probably love this series. If you've read other middle grade and enjoy it, then it's a great series to read. It is action-packed and it is so fun and it's sassy and funny and just incredible. It's got pretty much everything you could want from a middle grade series. So definitely recommend it. 5 out of 5 stars for the book overall and for the series overall. And I'm so excited to get into the rest of the series and just refresh my mind on everything that happens because there's a lot. So those were my thoughts about The Lightning Thief. Really, really great. I am so happy to be reading it again. Honestly, I don't think I can say that enough. So next I will be reading The Sea of Monsters, and I'm super excited for that as well. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, but let me know why and how I can improve in future videos. If you haven't subscribed, please do. That would be awesome. And share this with your friends. Comment down below who your favorite Percy Jackson character is and who your favorite Greek god is. Or if you haven't read Percy Jackson, just comment who your favorite Greek god is. I will do the same in a comment down below, so check that out for my answers. I hope to see you in the next video, and have a blessed day, everyone. Comment down below who your favorite Perry Jackson. Yes, Perry Johnson, Peter Johnson.